largest impacts of climate change are going to be visited upon us through changes in the water cycle. We expect to see the dries get drier and the wets get wetter. And what that means is that we're seeing an intensification of the hydrologic cycle, and that's something that we expect to continue. And the reason that that happens is that as the atmosphere warms, it can hold more water. So when evaporation happens and water's moving up and up out of the land and into the atmosphere, more of that water is held there. So when you're drying out, you're going to have more water, and it's consequently the land will get drier. And then when it rains, there's going to be more water to rain out of the system. We can also expect changes in the timing of where our water resources are, when they're delivered and where they come from. For example, the spring runoff might come a little bit earlier. And there's serious implications for water management as well as for the environment, particularly the fish that live in our rivers and streams. The so-called energy-water nexus, that is, the collision between the supply of water as well as our demands on energy, that's something that we're really struggling with as a nation.
Kristen Averett spends her whole day thinking about water.
More of that water is held there. So
Averett is the director of the Western Water Assessment. One of their jobs is to consider how our energy-intensive society becomes more vulnerable due to climate change.
In the United States, each person every day, just through their electricity use, withdraws about 400 gallons of water. The average household, the average person, only uses about 100 gallons of water. What this means is that we use almost 4 times as much water powering our televisions, powering our computers, plugging in our iPhones, than we do watering our lawns, taking our showers, and washing our dishes.
Averett says conservation alone is not enough. A new mindset is needed as we consider water use and energy generation.
I think, once again, we can't just think about conserving water, conserving energy, conserving our natural resources. We need to think about everything collectively. And I think key message, conserving energy, you're not just conserving energy, you're not just conserving the fuels, you're also conserving water. Generating electricity requires water, and moving water to the populations requires copious quantities of energy. In fact, in the US, roughly 80% of the electricity that's generated requires water.
We don't always realize it, but much of America's water is actually on call to generate electricity. It's an intensive hidden use that most people don't consider. So, in a coal-fired power plant, fuel is burned, which heats a huge pool of water. The steam that's generated turns a turbine and electricity is produced.
Different power plants require different amounts of water per kilowatt hour of power that's generated. For example, a nuclear power plant, about 40 to 45 gallons of water are required for every kilowatt hour that's generated, every kilowatt hour that I use at my house. When I think about a coal power plant, it's about 1 to 5 gallons of water is withdrawn for every kilowatt hour. What's really interesting, though, is renewable energy. Low carbon emissions does not always equate with low water use. For example, concentrated solar power, which actually uses the sun to heat that body of water to generate steam, to turn a turbine, to generate electricity, can use just as much water per kilowatt hour of power generated as a nuclear power plant. Unfortunately, where is most of the solar power? Where is there more sun than any other place in the United States? The Southwest, where there also isn't a whole lot of water. So this is really problematic as we're trying to plan for a future with lots of renewables.
Imagine a time when Western water is so scarce that one county is fighting another. Ranchers may put out what is called a call on the river to secure their senior water rights. This zero-sum game of water will suddenly turn into a dangerous fight that may leave entire towns high and dry on the western plains. This scenario is happening in West Texas right now, and as the impacts of climate change worsen, it could spread. The intensification of the water cycle will mean longer and more severe droughts, and when the rains come, they will be more prolonged as well.
I think the most active thing that one could possibly do is to really think about all of our natural resources as a portfolio together. And think about how when you're turning off the lights when you leave the house, you're not just saving energy, you're not just saving electricity, but you are saving a tremendous amount of water.